We're back for our daily NBA best bets here on Wednesday, January 14th. We've got, I think, 8 games today in the NBA. Similar type of schedule as yesterday, but we're going to make the most of it. Like yesterday, I'm going to go back to 4 money lines and 1 player prop. Trust me, this is not going to remain the same for a while, or it's not going to remain like this for a while. Tomorrow, I should be back on the 2 player props and the 3 money lines / spreads. It's just today specifically, I really like the value in some games, and there's one, I'll get to it. Our second best bet, I was going to do the original 3 money lines and spreads and then 2 player props, but then I got to what will be our second best bet of the video, and I was like, I can't pass up on this one. So 4 money lines today. Actually, I believe they're all money lines. Yes, a lot of even money games today. 4 money lines. We're gonna finish the day with the player prop. For the hell of it, I will give 2 player props for that one game, and I'll get to that at the end of the video. But regardless, we're gonna have our 5 best bets today for the NBA. And folks, if you have not yet, make sure to hit that subscribe button down below for some more daily NBA best bets here on the channel. Earlier today, we posted our college basketball best bets. Those are gonna be linked in the description down below, so make sure to join us for that. And also on the channel later today, our college football national championship game prediction between the Miami Hurricanes and the Indiana Hoosiers. That'll be dropping today at 5 p.m. Pacific, 8 p.m. Eastern time. Not going to want to miss that video, as well as our NFL divisional round predictions. Those are posted yesterday. That also will be linked in the description down below. Okay, on to the first now of our 5 best bets today in the NBA. Starting things off with the first of 2 on ESPN. We're going to be covering both of the ESPN games, but the first one being the Philadelphia 76ers and the Cleveland Cavaliers. I am taking Philadelphia to win the game at -110. Even odds on both sides, but I'm going to be taking Philly to get this one done. I believe the Sixers beat Cleveland in this spot. Cleveland has just been so mid this year, and it needs to be talked about, that game against the Utah Jazz. Guys, Utah, and I'll kind of spoil what we have coming up. The second game is the Jazz and the Bulls. I couldn't pass up on that opportunity. You probably know where I'm going, but we'll get to that in a minute. Okay, the Jazz are actively trying to lose games. That team is actively trying to tank to get a better draft pick. They've been doing it for years, but I mean, it is at the max right now, okay? And trust me, I'm gonna have my theories later today about, later in the video about Bulls and Jazz. But regardless, the Jazz are trying to lose, and yet the Cavaliers at home in Cleveland still lose to the Jazz. What are we doing? So now they got to go on the road and play Philly, a Philadelphia team that is playing all right. They've won 3 of 4. Dropped the first game in Toronto against the Raptors by 1 point. They then go in overtime. The next day, they go on to win. They get Embiid back. They play well. They win. They're up by a lot going into halftime. The Raptors kind of closed the gap in the second half, but ultimately, that game is won by the Sixers as they now gear up to play back-to-back games against the Cavaliers. Who makes these schedules? I don't know. You play Toronto twice on the road back-to-back, and then you got to come home and play Cleveland back-to-back at home. What is going on? Don't get me started, by the way. I know the NBA, not totally their fault for this one, but how about, very quickly, how about the Chicago Bulls having to play 3 consecutive games in a row against the Miami Heat? Are we not seeing this? The Heat and Bulls are going to play on January 29th, January 31st, and January 1st. The Bulls are going to play, they play the Pacers the night before too. The Bulls are going to play 5 games in 4, that'd be crazy. 4 games in 5 days. They're going to play the Heat 3 times in a row. It's going to be a best of 3 series. What are we doing? Anyways, I know, again, the condensation, but still, what the absolute hell? Anyways, whoever makes the schedules this year has just been on one. My goodness. I like the Thunder and Spurs playing on the 23rd of December and then Christmas. Like, yeah, just, give away the Christmas game 2 days before. Like, you couldn't have waited to put that matchup together. Whatever. Sixers, Cavs, round 1. Maybe we'll be back in a couple days for round 2. But I'm going to go Philadelphia here. I think the 76ers win this game. I mean, we talk at length about what Tyrese Maxey's done this year. Maxey's been a phenomenal player for the 76ers, one of the leading scorers in all of basketball, averaging 31 points per game. And when Joel Embiid is healthy and when Joel Embiid is playing, he's still very elite too. Embiid is likely going to play tonight. There are 3 guys in the Sixers injury report. It's Joel Embiid, the former MVP. It's Paul George, and it is VJ Edgecombe. All 3 of these guys are probable. Embiid with the knee, Paul George with the knee, and Edgecombe with a left adductor contusion. All 3 of those guys are going to play tonight. We're going to get a 100% healthy Philadelphia team taking on Cleveland, who only has, I believe, the Dean Wade injury, right? I mean, Strus has been out, but yeah, Dean Wade's the only player who's been playing recently that is out. Regardless, Cleveland has not played good basketball this season. I think, have they already matched their losses from last year? I know they've been getting close, but now they're over. Last year, the Cavaliers went 64-18. They are now 60, or not, they won 60 games. Yeah, they're not going to win 60 games. They're 22-19. Cleveland has now lost more games this year than they did last season, which I understand. Again, they were not expected to, put up together 60 win seasons back-to-back years, and obviously Halliburton and the Cavs disrupted what they wanted to do Halliburton and the Pacers, disrupted what they wanted to do in the postseason. But yeah, the Cavaliers have fallen apart. Not to say they're going to blow it up and rebuild. Hell, I think they still have the fourth best odds to in the East, and they're expected to make a somewhat big run in the postseason. I don't buy it, but that's neither here or there. I mean, come on, what are we doing? Cleveland has not played good basketball recently. They've traded wins and losses, and you can say, oh, well, they're due for a win now, and it doesn't always work like that. Cleveland has lost 3 out of their last 5 games, losing to Detroit, beating Indiana barely. I understand Donovan Mitchell didn't play, losing in Minnesota, beating Minnesota at home, and then losing to Utah on their own home court. I'd say just you can't take that loss to that team. Donovan Mitchell played, by the way. He played against his former team. It's not like, they sat him out due to rest. No, they were at full strength. They played that game. I mean, everyone was active. They lose to the Jazz. You know what also pains me some? Lonzo Ball is a healthy scratch now in the NBA. He hasn't played well. He's been awful this year. He's only 28. Oh man. We're like, this is like Lonzo next year is going to play on the Kings, and then his career might be over. Man, that sucks. I think Philly beats Cleveland, though, tonight. Philly at full strength is dangerous, okay? Trust me, we're still on the Celtics to win the East. I know they've not played well recently. They're still going to win it. Don't you fear. Philly's a team that scares me. They scare me more than New York and Detroit do. At full strength, Maxey the way he's playing, Embiid when he's at his best. Ooh, they're deep, too. I mean, there are bench guys that you just don't see much of. Or at least, I mean, you don't see Jared McCain or Quentin. Well, you see Quentin Grimes taking over some, but like there are bench players who are very impactful for Philadelphia too, who don't always have the biggest impact in every single game. McCain, by the way, barely playing too. So, yeah. Anyways, because Oubre is back, so McCain's getting squeezed out. Oh, it sucks. Get Jared McCain to the Clippers, please. Or give him to Miami. I know Ja wants to play in Miami. Doesn't everybody? Anyways, give me Philly to win this game at home. Sixers -110 beat the Cavs. So this is the game I couldn't pass up on. If you don't like -140, take the 2.5. But I couldn't pass up on Chicago playing Utah. I was looking, I was like, oh, okay. I was thinking, I'm not gonna lie to you, I had Johnny Furphy over 5.5 points. I was close to doing it in the first game of the day with the Raptors and the Pacers. But I can't pass up on the opportunity to take the Chicago Bulls to beat the Utah Jazz. I can't do it. I know Chicago lost yesterday, but they did cover our spread for us. We had 12.5 points. They obviously didn't win, but they covered quite easily, losing by only 6 points against a Houston team that I guess is figuring it out, but a Houston team that can't get anybody to get in their building. Durant says otherwise, but watch the game in the fourth quarter. There's nobody there. Good on Houston finally getting a victory, but Chicago hangs in there with them. And a Chicago team that was without Kobe White, without Josh Giddey still, who knows, right? I don't know if Josh Giddey's close to being back. Again, I mentioned this yesterday when we were talking about that Rockets versus Bulls game, but Giddey was supposed to be reevaluated yesterday. Like that was, the original day for him. Now what we're getting with Josh Giddey is that he was practicing on Monday. He practiced on Monday. Very limited, but apparently he is probably going to play, I would think, within the next week. He's on the right track to being back. That's huge, obviously. Josh Giddey's not going to be an all-star this season because of the missed games. He is very deserving of being an all-star this season, though the impact Josh Giddey has had on Chicago has been massive. And, they're not where they're at without Josh Giddey, who's averaging 19, 9, and 9, who has some of the most triple-doubles in the NBA this season. Giddey's been phenomenal this year for the Bulls. So getting him back will be huge, but tonight, likely no Giddey. I highly doubt Giddey's going. I don't think we're going to see Giddey for, until a couple more games. Kobe White's back, though. I can almost guarantee that. Kobe White did not play the Houston game due to injury management. And we said this yesterday. I mean, it's a one-game road trip for the Bulls. They played Dallas at home on Saturday. They won. They go down to Houston for one game on Tuesday. And they come right back to Chicago today to play the Utah Jazz before back-to-back games against the Brooklyn Nets. One in Brooklyn, one in Chicago. Who makes these schedules? Why does that make sense? It doesn't make sense. That's the thing. Whatever. Anyways, Chicago at home against Utah, they should win. How about Tyus Jones last night? Trey Jones. Oh my goodness. How about Trey Jones last night? 12 points out of Trey Jones averaged 12 points per night. How about 34 in 27 minutes against the Houston Rockets? I thought it was going to be Ayo Dosunmu, who, broke through and had a big night. Dosunmu, 7 points. Nope, Trey Jones came through. My goodness. We will take it. But Kobe White's likely back again. We saw it coming. Well, he was like, I think he was questionable or doubtful. He's gonna play tonight, second night of a back-to-back. They just didn't want to send him down to Houston for no reason. He probably stayed in Chicago. He's gonna play tonight. Okay, we're fine with this. I'm gonna take Chicago to win this basketball game against the Utah Jazz. Who, guys? Will Hardy's getting punished for losing. The Jazz players are gonna get punished for losing. Will Hardy is going. Danny Ainge is sitting on his desk and telling Will Hardy, "All right, man. 2 more of those wins and you're getting fired. You want to come back next season? You want to be part of the never-ending rebuild? Yeah, okay. Start losing again, pal. What is this? Winning a basketball game? We don't do that out here. What? We're only 3 games out of the play-in? How dare we get close to that? We need to lose more. Look at the Kings and the Pelicans. The Kings are winning games. We can fall behind them. We need to start losing. I'm telling you, man. It's a team that refuses to actually try to win games. So Jazz winning, the Jazz beating Cleveland, they're not supposed to do that. Yeah, they're going to get punished, and now we're going to see the most idiotic rotations ever tonight. I'm so serious. Like, they're going to try to lose tonight. This just feels like a scripted loss for Utah. All right, they somehow beat Cleveland, and now Danny Ainge has told Will Hardy, if you don't lose the rest of this road trip, you're getting fired. You have to lose in Chicago. You got to lose in Dallas. You play Dallas. What is up with these back-to-back games in the same location? You got to lose back-to-back in Dallas, and then you got to lose to San Antonio. And then, all right, you can stick around, okay? You're allowed 1 win every 10 games. We cannot have this anymore. So, as of now, everyone's active except for Kevin Love. They're getting ahead of it. Kevin Love's being rested for some reason against the Bulls. Okay. Sure, I guess. I expect somebody to not play tonight, whether that be Ace Bailey, Keontae George, Markkanen, Nurkic. Somebody's going to get ruled out. It's going to throw everything off, and the Jazz are going to randomly find a way to lose at the end of the game. The Bulls are not fully healthy. I understand with Josh Giddey out and Zach Collins being out for the foreseeable future, but Kobe White returns tonight. You still got, again, Trey Jones, who dominated off the bench. Or Trey Jones, played big minutes, played 27 minutes, who's usually obviously comes off the bench. We'll see what they do tonight with Trey Jones with Kobe White back in the lineup. But Jones was massive, started last night. I would think he's going to start again because I think they just probably go back smaller with their bigs and just go Matas and Vooch instead of Jalen Smith in the starting lineup. But regardless, Bulls played well last night. I know it's the second night of a back-to-back. They're playing the Jazz, who are trying to lose, and Kobe White's fully healthy and fully fresh for this game. So I'm going to go with Chicago at home to beat the Utah Jazz. Bulls money line at -140 as I guess they hang around the play-in with their good pals, the Atlanta Hawks and the Miami Heat. On now to our third best bet of the video. Another money line pick. Give me my sneaky Brooklyn Nets. They've been our sneaky team all year long with Chicago, a team you don't expect to give you fits, but here they are. So yesterday, the Pelicans play at home at the Smoothie King Center in Louisiana, in New Orleans, against the Denver Nuggets. Denver finds a way to win. We might have something about them in a second. But Denver finds a way to win. Competitive game. Jamal Murray scores 35. Denver ultimately wins the game by 6 points, 122-116. Michael Porter Jr., obviously former Denver Nugget, now Brooklyn Net, is in New Orleans a day early, and he's courtside for the game. And he did actually a whole interview with Altitude Sports Network, I believe it is, with the Denver Nuggets, obviously local broadcast or local television broadcast. Just something interesting I thought I'd throw out there. So anyways, Brooklyn is now playing tonight. Michael Porter Jr. said he was there to cheer on his old teammates and do some scouting about the Pelicans. Sure. Yeah. You got to scout this team. Now, New Orleans 9-33. 9-33, they're gearing up to trade all their players. Herbert Jones has one of these never-ending injuries where, like, is he really hurt? Is he not? I don't know. DeJounte Murray's still out. I saw DeJounte Murray got married, apparently, or got engaged. I don't know if this is real or not because I just don't know what to believe anymore on NBA Twitter, but I saw an interesting video. I'll leave it at that. Anyways, New Orleans gearing up to trade their entire team. Will Zion be traded? Will he not be traded? I don't know. Again, they have a very hefty price in terms of what they are, what they will, what they want in terms of, if they're going to give up Trey Murphy, what they want in return. We'll see about that situation. Anyways, I like Brooklyn to win this game on the road. The Nets have not played well in their last 4 games, losing 4 consecutive outings and losing 7 out their last 8 games, with the only victory randomly being the Michael Porter Jr. revenge game against the Denver Nuggets. Again, losing 7 out their last 8, losing to Golden State, Houston, Washington, winning against Denver, and then losing to Orlando in overtime, the Clippers, in Memphis, and in Dallas to, of course, the Grizzlies and the Mavs. So day off yesterday. They get to New Orleans early, obviously, as you saw Michael Porter Jr. at the game courtside, and now they're going to play the Pelicans tonight. I like the Nets to win this game. MPJ, we talk about it all the time, has dominated this season for the Brooklyn Nets. This is a borderline all-star. I'd argue he should be in the game. I don't know if he's going to. Probably not. Pascal Siakam's very deserving too. But again, both these guys play on very low-level teams who don't win games, so we'll see about that. Anyways, MPJ has dominated this season. He's putting this team on his back. Bunch of three-point shots out of Michael Porter Jr. He does it all. They're playing... They have been playing Cam Thomas off the bench recently, which is an adjustment to say the least. Thomas did not play their last game against the Dallas Mavericks. He is expected to play tonight. Again, though, Thomas is coming off the bench for Brooklyn for the first time in a while, and his production hasn't really been there, which, again, I've talked about this. It's probably for the better, though, because Cam Thomas with your starters and with, Igor Demin and all these guys, these younger players, you don't need him to take a million shots when you have MPJ on the court, too, and they just don't really work on the court at the same time. That's just the way I see it. But whatever, they're playing Cam Thomas off the bench. At least they have been. I would expect that to continue tonight against New Orleans. And that's where Cam Thomas can ultimately make a difference, though, in those bench minutes, where he can actually dominate, getting second unit guys. The second unit guys out of New Orleans, sure, there's a scorer on their second unit, too, in all fairness, that obviously of the name of Jordan Poole. But it gives Brooklyn somewhat of boost off the bench, even though Thomas hasn't entirely displayed that as of yet as a bench player for Brooklyn. But again, we shall see on that going forward. I still like the Nets' young core. We forget about this a lot. Noah Clowney's still very young, 21. Nick Claxton, still fairly young as well, even though he's probably going to get traded sooner rather than later. Igor Demin, rookie. Nolan Traore, rookie. Drake Powell, rookie. Danny Wolf, rookie. They're a very young team, and it's not like they stash these guys in the G League. It's not like they stash them at the end of their bench, right? They play a lot of these young guys. They have 6 rookies on the team. It's absurd, right? Ben Seraph as well, rookie as well. They have so many rookies up and down this lineup. I know Seraph hasn't really played in a while, but, he's been hurt, but I think he's rehabbing with the Long Island Nets. But they are such a young team. Just going to take them some time. And that's why I think MPJ has been so good for the squad. Because at times, too, you look at Demin, Demin and, and Traore and Powell and Wolf. You need someone to take over in the clutch. And that is Michael Porter Jr., who's going to take efficient shots and not just pull up from half court sometimes like Cam Thomas does. I still think Thomas is a phenomenal player, but he doesn't really offer you much other than pure scoring, and that's where he can really help off the bench. So a game like this, okay, Thomas is expected to play unlike what happened in Dallas. I like the spot for Brooklyn. I think they should win this. They're a favorite to go on the road and beat New Orleans. I understand these are two lower level teams, as Brooklyn is 11-26 and New Orleans is 9-33. How did New Orleans play so many more games? How did that happen? Unless my math is completely tripping here, which I don't think it is. You got, quick math here, you got 37 games for the Nets, and you got 42 for New Orleans. How did this happen? Yeah, wait, what? How have they played 10 more games than the Nets? I guess we have a lot of back-to-backs coming up for Brooklyn. That's weird. Anyways, yeah, New Orleans has played half of their games already. I guess the Thunder have too. I guess it's more of just a Brooklyn problem. Why hasn't Brooklyn played any games? That's really odd. Yeah, Brooklyn's played 3 less games than everybody else. They had nothing rescheduled, right? Yeah, they had nothing canceled. That's really weird. Oh, wow, they play 13 more games this month. Oh my goodness, that's why. Anyways, I'm going to take the Nets to win this game. Yeah, their schedule does get kind of tricky coming up because holy crap, there's a lot of games coming up for this team. We're looking at a 6-game week coming up. Holy crap, 5-game week and then another 5-game week. Yeah, that's why. I'm going to take Brooklyn tonight. Give me MPJ and the Rooks to go on the road to New Orleans and beat the Pelicans. On to our 4th best bet of the video. Going now to that second half of the ESPN doubleheader in Dallas, Texas, between the Dallas Mavericks and the Denver Nuggets. I'm going to go with Denver to win the basketball game at -110. I understand there's a possibility their premier guys don't play. I think Jamal Murray's going to go. And if he doesn't go, don't bet on it. Okay, so wait. Make sure Jamal Murray plays. But I think Jamal Murray's back to a point. If they're playing him 37 minutes last night, I think they're going to play him on a second night of a back-to-back, right? Because he missed 2 games, if I'm not mistaken, right? Jamal Murray misses 2 games, comes back. If they were trying to ease him into things, or they were at least concerned still with an injury out of Jamal Murray, they would not have just thrown him out there to play 37 minutes against the New Orleans Pelicans of all teams. And I understand they needed every bit of those 37 minutes out of Jamal Murray to ultimately win the basketball game against New Orleans. But if they were concerned about an injury, they would have not played Jamal Murray that much. So I think he's okay, and I would expect him to play the second night of a back-to-back. I really would. I would expect Aaron Gordon to also play the second night of a back-to-back. Aaron Gordon played 30 minutes last night. If they were concerned about him, well, obviously he's been back for quite a bit, but still, they wouldn't be playing him 30 minutes per night if they weren't ready to have him go full go. Christian Braun did not play last night. That's a case where potentially, okay, now he plays the second night of a back-to-back. I'm not certain on him. Brown's been a little bit shaky, though, not going to lie, recently, even prior to the injury. Anyways, as long as Jamal Murray plays, we should have a fairly good chance. Guys, Denver has found guys to step up, something that I did not expect. These players who've come off the bench all year long have stepped up in a big way. I'm looking at Peyton Watson, who again, it's not just Jamal Murray last night. Peyton Watson drops 31 points, and all of a sudden Peyton Watson has put himself in an elite position with the Denver Nuggets. I mean, again, Western Conference Player of the Week. Last 10 games, he's averaging 20 points per night with Jokic out. What the hell? He's only 23, by the way. Peyton Watson has played phenomenal basketball for the Nuggets. They have struck gold. Get it? Because the Nuggets, they've struck gold. No? Nobody? Okay. But they have with Peyton Watson, who has been around, by the way, and has been on this team for 4 years now. But all of a sudden, hey, I mean, he's only 23. He's been on the team for a while. Obviously, this is a player who was on the championship winning team in 2023, originally drafted by OKC, if I'm not mistaken, right? Yeah, obviously drafted by OKC, and then traded to Denver for a 2027 first-round pick, because, of course. Anyways, Watson's played really well recently. Obviously, again, Jamal Murray at his best is obviously phenomenal. And I'll give a lot of credit to some of these other players. Spencer Jones has played well. Zeke Najee's played well off the bench. How about Tim Hardaway Jr.? They're a very short-handed team, yet Denver still finds ways to win. And on a second night of a back-to-back, I still think they're going to be able to win, because I still think they should have most of these guys going. As for the Mavs, this is not related to the game. I just got to get this out the way because it's the biggest talking point currently about Dallas. Looks like they're going to keep Anthony Davis. Anthony Davis is going to avoid surgery. He was putting out some tweets on Twitter yesterday or on X, but AD's supposed to now only be back in 6 weeks instead of for the rest of the year potentially. AD's going to be back this season for the Mavs, but in what position are they going to be in at that point as they are currently 10 games under 500 at 15-25? I don't know, only 2.5 out the play-in, but you look, oh, yeah, the Clippers are ahead of them, and yeah, likely Los Angeles is going to be in the play-in and not Dallas, right? Memphis is going to get squeezed out of all of it, and the Clippers will be in. So I don't know what's going to go on there. But anyways, on to this Mavericks team right now. Obviously, no Anthony Davis tonight. No Max Christie, which is huge. PJ Washington questionable. Brandon Williams questionable. There's a lot of injuries going around this team, but not having Christie is actually huge because Max Christie has provided the Mavericks big minutes and big shots recently. Obviously, again, the guy on this team is Cooper Flagg. If it's not Anthony Davis, it's Cooper Flagg. He's going to win the Rookie of the Year. Just put up 27 points in the Brooklyn game in 35 minutes. He's been phenomenal this year. I mean, the guy's only 19 years old, and Cooper Flagg is actually already, an elite player, at least on the road to being a very elite player in the NBA. He's been great. There's too much on this Denver team. And I know it's the second night of the back-to-back for Denver, but the fact that they have found this production in Peyton Watson. Hell, they found a lot of production out of Jalen Pickett, who I've always thought is pretty solid. I think Julian Strawther's really good too, but Julian Strawther just doesn't really get opportunity anymore for Denver. So I don't know about that. Strawther had to start games last season for the Nuggets when they had injuries, only a few, but there was a stretch, I think, a whole week where Julian Strawther was starting games for Denver. He doesn't even crack the rotation anymore. But I mean, they've found production out of Spencer Jones, but mainly Pickett, Watson, and then Tim Hardaway, who obviously an experienced guy, veteran player. His dad has beef with Tyrese Halliburton, but an experienced player who yesterday drops 18 points off the bench and just comes in and shoots threes. That's what he does, right? This is a good Denver team. I'm not going to deny that. I mean, I think they're still probably second or third best in the West, obviously behind OKC, which, yesterday, that's why I don't bet against OKC. So we're done on that. All right, what I did, they blew them out, so I did what I was supposed to do, and I just hammered OKC to win the NBA championship. Still plus 120. Yeah, they're going to win the chip again. Okay, that was the obstacle they needed to get over. They did. Now they've seen it go through the net literally against San Antonio. They're going to easily dominate to their second straight NBA championship. Anyways, in this specific game, I'm going to go with the Denver Nuggets. I like the production they've gotten out of the non-Jokic players and the guys who've had to step up through injury with, again, beyond Jokic out, Valanciunas out, also Cameron Johnson out. They're just finding guys to come in and produce. And for Dallas, again, no Max Christie tonight. Obviously, no Anthony Davis, potentially. No PJ Washington, no Brandon Williams as well. There's only so much Cooper Flag can do. Again, I like some of their rotational guys. I like Ryan Nembhard quite a bit. Gafford obviously is going to give you minutes. Najee Marshall and his weird floaters are going to give you minutes too. Klay Thompson, depending on the night, can be big for Dallas as well. It is a nationally televised game, but I got to go with the Denver Nuggets to pick up the victory. Give me Denver on the road in Dallas, even on a second night of a back-to-back. I still like the Nuggets to get it done. Nuggets win, -110 on the road in Dallas, Texas. On to our final best bet of the video and our only player prop of the day. I'll give you a second one if you want it. They're going to be both from the same team, but I just like the spots. We're going to take DeMar DeRozan over 19.5 points at -125. Absolutely. I'm watching the way DeMar DeRozan's been playing recently. This feels like kind of a free line for him. The other player prop I had, I need to get the exact number value, but I remember looking at it. It was under on Russell Westbrook points. Westbrook coming off a Lakers game. He's been on fire shooting the 3 ball. I think New York's going to kind of press up on him a little bit, force Russ to pass the ball. I think his points are going to be under tonight. Russ's line tonight is 16.5. Yes, I would go under on Russell Westbrook points. But anyways, the player prop I'm going to tonight is DeMar DeRozan over 19.5. I think he's going to get 20. If you look at the last DeMar DeRozan games, and I've for some reason been watching a lot of Kings basketball as of late, they're low-key kind of entertaining right now. I mean, for as much as I hated watching the Lakers play the Kings the other night in Sacramento, I can tell you, yeah, the Kings were playing an entertaining style of game. It just wasn't fun as someone who's a Lakers fan. Anyways, DeMar DeRozan against Los Angeles, 32 points. Obviously, what does DeMar DeRozan do? Shoot mid-range shots. At will, DeMar DeRozan against Los Angeles, 14 for 19 from the field, midi after midi after midi after midi, the occasional drive to the hoop, but that's what DeMar DeRozan does. Obviously, it's getting lost in Sacramento, but, DeMar DeRozan doesn't really go hand in hand with a winning team anymore. I'm just going to be honest. DeMar's had a great career, but he's got a very, He's got a very unique style of play. He'll dribble the air out of the basketball, take 20 seconds, and pull up for a nice mid-range shot. It just doesn't flow with everything. But, when the Kings want a bucket, they are going to go to DeMar DeRozan. And we got to play trends here. DeMar DeRozan's hot right now. We're going to continue to look at DeMar DeRozan. Because last 4 games, DeMar's gone over 20 points. We need 20 tonight. So dating back to the 6th of January 6th against the Mavericks, how about 21 points for DeMar DeRozan, 8 for 18 from the field. Oddly enough, 3 for 6 from the 3-point line. But bam, that cashes. Against Golden State, 35 minutes, 24 points, 10 to 19 from the field. There you go, 24. That's an over for DeMar. Houston victory, DeRozan, 22 points at 8 for 13 shooting, mainly middies, hits. And of course, that Lakers game we just talked about, mid-ranges for days. Luka can't guard him. Marcus Smart can't guard him. Gabe Vincent can't guard him. DeMar DeRozan goes out there and scores 32 against Los Angeles. And don't get me wrong, the Lakers yesterday, how about them? Marcus Smart shows up, what the hell? But Lakers show up and dominate the Hawks. They try to choke it in the late 3rd quarter and early 4th quarter, but Lakers win the game, and you know what? All right, we'll take it. They're still not unbanned yet on money lines, okay? When AR comes back, all right, then the Lakers might be a problem. But for now, they're still banned. But shout out to the Lakers for winning. I was fairly happy. I was very happy with that performance yesterday. Anyways, back to DeMar DeRozan. I expect DeRozan to find his mid-range shot all game long against the New York team where, I think they're going to have trouble guarding DeMar. And the thing is, teams are more than willing to give DeMar some of these shots because 2s don't hurt you that much in the NBA anymore. I don't know. Josh Hart is back, so obviously that's going to be the assignment for Hart tonight. Hart's going to be draped all over DeMar, I can assume. I think that's the matchup they're going to have to go on because DeMar is going to be having the rock for most of the time. But I still think DeRozan goes over. That dominant performance against Los Angeles is a player that does average 19 points per game this season. But again, look at his last 4, 21, 24, 22. And is 32 his season high this year? No, it's not. He had 33 against Minnesota, but a near season high for DeMar DeRozan. And we talk again about, he scored 37 against Detroit. So there's that. But we talk about how players are trending going into games and, how they're going, and just how he's been playing recently. Yeah, DeMar's been playing phenomenal basketball. And when he wants to get to the rim, he can get to it too. He's been getting fouled. He's been capitalizing on big and one opportunities. And again, this is what I've gotten from watching the last 4 Sacramento Kings games and watching more Sacramento Kings games than I have all year long. DeRozan has been playing fairly well. Don't get me wrong. I'm still not going to say he fits with the Kings. It's not their identity of basketball. It's not their brand of basketball because DeMar takes a whole offensive possession to himself for the most part and takes 20 seconds to do so. I feel like I'm watching the Air Force Falcons try to play offense, at least, in terms of basketball perspective. But you know what? DeMar gets it done. He's going to score. I'll say that, right? I don't have much else to say positively about DeMar DeRozan just because I don't think he fits with Sacramento. And for DeMar DeRozan to be most effective, he needs to be the star player of his team and the main guy on his team, which, again, he has been before, and he still kind of is in Sacramento, but obviously that's not a winning formula to what Sacramento is trying to do this season, but ultimately, what is Sacramento trying to accomplish? Top pick? I don't know. Anyways, I'm going to go with DeMar DeRozan tonight, over 19.5 points at -125. The reasoning on Westbrook, again, if you want to go to it, Westbrook under 16.5 points. Don't think he's going to see that high volume percentage from the three-point line this game. I think Brunson likely will be on him. Will likely press up on Westbrook a little bit and force Westbrook to pass the rock. And also Westbrook, just try hard Lakers game, so he's cooling down after the try hard attempt against Los Angeles, which of course is his Super Bowl. So going to be DeMar DeRozan, though, ultimately, for our best player prop. We're going to go over 19.5 points for DeMar at -125. Folks, thank y'all for watching our NBA Best Bets here on January 14th. If you have not yet, though, make sure to hit that subscribe button down below for more. Make sure to leave a like if you did enjoy the video. Make sure to comment if you disagree with any of the picks. We'll be back tomorrow for more daily NBA Best Bets. Folks, thank y'all for watching, and Mamba forever.